Hi, I'm Angie Callahan. Welcome to School Talk Monthly. In this program, we'll see a preview of a series designed for those who work with and nurture young children. And we'll find out who our Schools of the Month are. Have you ever wondered how all the elements of a theater production come together to form the final product? Join award-winning author Jacqueline Woodson on the Kennedy Center Performing Arts Series live on WHRO Friday, February 4th, as she talks about the creation and adaptation of her book, Locomotion, for the stage. You can register for Locomotion by going to kennedy-center.org/education/PWTV. Now let's take a look at the live field trip coming in February from Colonial Williamsburg.
History comes alive with Colonial Williamsburg's electronic field trip series. Stories of choice, hope, and escape spanning 3 centuries of slavery are explored in Freedom Bound.
There's no escape for you, King Cell!
Learn about the Emmy Award-winning electronic field trip series. Register your school today.
Freedom Bound airs live Thursday, February 10th at 10 a.m. and again at 1 p.m. For more information on this live electronic field trip, go to history.org/trips. February 17th, Meet the Author brings another edition your way. With an artistic mother and a storytelling father, Jennifer O'Connell grew up loving art and stories. This illustrator's picture book, 10 Timid Ghosts, is a New York Times, Publisher Weekly, and USA Today bestseller. O'Connell says she loves working on books for our most important audience and believes that picture books are for everyone. Tune in Thursday, February 17th at 1 and meet the author, Jennifer O'Connell. For classroom materials, go to fcps.edu/Fairfax Network. This month's preview is from a series designed to meet the needs of child care providers, from babysitters to mothers of young children to early care providers. Through advice from fellow providers and experts in child care development, A Place of Our Own teaches methods to help children acquire cognitive, social, emotional, and physical skills. Here's a clip from A Place of Our Own.
Welcome to A Place of Our Own. I'm Elizabeth Sanchez, and thanks to this letter from Russell Bloom in Burlington, Vermont, today we're focusing on something every parent can relate to: separation anxiety. He writes, "Dear Elizabeth, my daughter is 1.5 years old and cries and screams when my wife leaves for an errand or goes anywhere without her. What can I do to help her?" Joining me to help answer Russell's question are Shadi Lang, Sherry Griffin, and Alma Martinez. Thanks for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And joining us is family therapist Myra Prado. Hi, Myra.
Pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you. Let's get to Russell's question, but he's talking about separation anxiety.
Right.
So let's define what is separation anxiety.
You know, separation anxiety is that distress that the child feels when all of a sudden he realizes these are my parents and these are strangers, and I don't want to be next to strangers, I want to be next to my parents. It's a very normal part of development starts at about 8 months to about 1.5 years. And if we think of it in terms of just survival, okay, it's about the time that a child begins to walk. And a child begins to walk, and typically they explore, and then all of a sudden they realize there's a stranger there and run back to the parents. So it's very adaptive. It's really adaptive behavior.
And as Russell says, it's not only when his wife leaves completely, it's just when she can even just go out of the room too.
Right. And my heart goes out to Russell, because mothers typically are more the hands-on provider for the child. And then one day they want a break, and the dad comes in, and the dad goes, you know, the child begins crying.
That's so true.
And it's really tough.
Right, and Myra's talking about an 18-month-old, and you know it starts at 8 months, and you have an 18-month-old son.
I do.
So what have you seen, Shadi?
Well, I'll tell you, I think a different form, I mean, people associate, you know, separation anxiety with moms, the child with the mother. When my son was transitioning at daycare and they took him from a infant room to a walking room, he had a ton of separation anxiety. He wanted to go back to that baby room, and he would cry, scream. But when he was in that room, calm, he knew everything was, familiarity.
Yeah.
And
but
then
how old was he when he
he
started
was
in the baby room and when he started
6
in
months, and then it was 11 months when they moved him to the other room.
So it makes
but it
sense.
took like 3 weeks to
For him to stop the crying.
he would
and
just
screaming?
cry, and he would just, you know, bang on the door to go in that room. And then once you put him in that room, he was, you know, completely happy. So it was
It does
it was a
break your
different
heart, though.
form.
Right. It does
And
break
Alma,
your heart.
you are a child care provider. Tell us what
Exactly.
you see and how you help parents deal with
Well,
this.
when the parents drop the children off, I always allow the parents to bring a special blanket or a choopy, you know, pacifier if they want. And then I also give the kids a little treat or something, or I offer them something to eat, because usually when you think of food, you're thinking of something secure, comfort, and you know that builds a bond between me and the child. And I always offer them, you want to have toast? I made toast for breakfast today, and then they'll go, oh. And then it's like, bye, Mom.
Then they forget about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, Mom.
Right.
Right.
That does work.
Now, and Sherry, you have your 2 nieces who you take care of. So what do you see with them? And they're 2.
There too. In the beginning, for about maybe a week, there's a little bit of anxiety there. But what I find is I got them into a pattern. I would say, you know, give mommy a kiss goodbye. Oh, patterns are perfect. You know, I tell the parent, make sure you tell them you love them, kiss them, hug them. I'll be back. And I'll encourage the child to do the same thing. And after that, that was fine. Every once in a while, I might have to do something comfort, like they have their little sippy cups, and I'll give them their sippy cup, and they're fine with that. But just
Or a
getting
stuffed
them,
animal.
Stuffed animal would work.
yeah. Something that
We would hold it every day.
Or they smell it.
yeah,
Because they
exactly.
smell
right.
home.
That's
That's
right.
so funny when I see the kids smell it. What do you smell? Smells good.
And Sherry's talking about giving them a hug and a kiss. Now, let's talk, Myra, why it's not good to just sneak out.
Okay, first of all, routines are really important for children because routines make them feel safe. They know what to expect, and so it's wonderful for them. If a parent sneaks out, they are playing into a child's worst fear, and it's mom or dad disappear.
Right.
Now, if you go through a routine and it's a gentle, loving, quick goodbye, and then you just leave and you say, I'm going to be back at this time, and you know, I'll see you then, and the parent comes back and you know really meets his promise, then the child knows, okay, there's an expectation here that gets met. When the parent disappears, there's no expectation to be met except a horrible one, and it's mom and dad disappear.
And that was the feedback I was given too. When you drop off, say your goodbye,
Right, don't
kiss
sneak
him,
away.
give him a hug, and then leave.
And don't prolong it either.
Right.
Don't
Don't make it long.
Exactly.
Right, and a lot of times it's harder for the parent than the child. I mean, I know I would sneak away sometimes, and then I would listen, and my daughter was fine as soon as I left, and I'm like, okay, so it wasn't so bad.
Right. What I would do sometimes, if the girls were really upset, then I would call a little later. Say,
That's
you know,
what I
Robin,
do, too.
they're doing good. I know you had looked a little stressed when you left, but they're doing wonderful
That is
now.
very
That-
helpful.
that
Or I
helps
have the
out.
parents say,
very
I tell the
helpful.
parents, you can call me any time of the day. You can come by anytime. I don't recommend coming by, but you can come
That's
by.
important.
Yeah,
But
it
it's
is.
also important to realize that children, especially very young children, get their cues from how the parents are feeling. They really are very good. If you are anxious, they know you're anxious.
They know it.
And they know there's something not right here. So check your anxiety before you do this.
Right, and what
Because
are the
the child will
causes of
pick it up.
separation anxiety?
Separation anxiety is a normal part of development. However, there are situations that can worsen it. If a child is sick, if a child is hungry or tired, if a sibling has just been born, if there have been changes, a move, anything that raises the instability level will be creating anxiety in a child, and then separating from the parent will become harder.
Right, and we talked about, you're talking about these external factors. Now, what about divorce?
Divorce is a huge one, because in divorce, the worst fear of the child, which is mom or dad are going to leave, happens. So my advice to parents is, if at all possible, hang in there, until the child is at least 18 months old. Do not separate between 8 and 18 months, because that's really a very tough age to experience that. Also, plan not to have a child also during that time, or during a time when a child starts schools, because all of those are points when a child will feel more distress because they're already adapting to another situation.
Right, and it just adds to their separation.
It makes it more complicated.
Right, it makes it more complicated. Yeah. Thank you all very much. This has been great conversation. Russell, I hope we're giving you some helpful information about separation anxiety. If you'd like to find out more or talk online with others, go to our website, aplaceofourown.org. Up next, helping your child cope when the two of you are apart. And still to come, how special objects can help alleviate the stress of transitions. Thanks to a letter from Russell in Burlington, Vermont, we're discovering how you can help your child cope with separation anxiety. Most parents have to deal with separation anxiety. Now let's see how the Gottliebs help their two daughters through this process. Let's watch.
Sweetie, Mommy's gotta go bye-bye. I'm sorry, sweet. I know you're sad.
Ever since Laura Gottlieb decided to go back to work, she and her husband David have experienced firsthand the feelings of separation anxiety.
I love you.
My husband and I first started noticing that our daughters were showing separation anxiety around 8 months. With Lily, she would absolutely cry, sometimes throw temper tantrums. She would be shouting for Mommy or shouting for Daddy to come home, and she had a really hard time calming down. Bye.
2.5-year-old Lily isn't the only one experiencing separation anxiety. Her 9-month-old sister Sophie also recently began showing some signs of distress when Laura leaves.
Bye, baby. No, Mommy. For Sophie, we noticed that when we would either leave the room or leave to go out somewhere, she would cry. She would start to reach her arms out because she really wanted us to stay.
Parents generally see the signs of separation anxiety around a year old, but it could vary. It can be as early as 7 months old, or it can be as late as 2 years old. It depends on the child's not just chronological age, but where they are developmentally.
Say bye-bye.
I love you.
Say bye. Lily, can you tell Sophie it's all going to be okay? Say bye-bye, Daddy.
It's very difficult to see your kids distressed that you're leaving. It's tough when they're crying, and it's tough to sort of close the door when they're upset.
To help their daughters cope, the Gottliebs created a storybook about what Lily and Sophie can expect during the day while they're away.
This book's called Mommy and Daddy Go to Work.
We've made a book for her that she's prepared with her own artwork and photos, and tried to explain the process of going to work, spending the day without Mommy, and then Mommy comes home. And we always reiterate that we will both always be back.
When Poppy goes to work, he always comes. That's right, he always comes.
One of the purposes of us creating this book is so that she can go through the book while we're there with her, go through it several times so she can predict what's going to happen, she can understand what's going to happen, and then when we leave, even then our caretaker can still go through the story with her.
Another way the Gottliebs prepare their daughters for separations is by talking them through what is about to happen and encouraging them to become involved in the departure process.
Mommy's going to go out with her friend. All right, I see you have your purse. We're going to get Mommy's purse because Mommy has to go. We found that with Lily, it does help if we explain to her we are going to be leaving, we are going to be going out, but you can help us get ready.
Now that she's 2.5 and her language is so much better, the more information we give her, the better.
A parent can really prepare a child for their leaving in many ways. One is they can really communicate with the child. They can let the child know what's going to happen. The child may not fully understand, but they're talking to them anyway, and this is really important.
So Lily, when Mommy's at work and Poppy's at work, you're going to go to the park with Ileana, right? Are you going to go on walks? Yeah.
Lily.
Gossy.
You're going to walk like Gossy the duck.
Laura and David also make sure to acknowledge their daughters' feelings of anxiety and distress, while at the same time reassuring them of their return.
You said Mommy and Daddy have to go to work. That's right. Where do we go? Work.
Work.
That's right. And sometimes I feel, and sometimes I cry because I miss them.
You don't try to talk the child out of it. You try to talk about what they're feeling. I know it's sad. I know this is really hard for you. I'm going to come back. This is when I'll be back.
When I go to work, I always come back.
That's right.
That's right.
The consistency, the follow-through is what helps them develop trust and feel safe that you will return.
While it can sometimes be distressing for Laura and David to leave their daughters, they realize that it's something they can't avoid and something they must all learn to cope with together.
Parents shouldn't really limit or forego separation in response to separation anxiety. Separation has to happen eventually, and so you don't really want to limit it just because the child's having a hard time with it.
I love being with Lily and Sophie, and being with them just makes my day. But I have to say that I feel really strongly that it's also really important to them, for them too. It's important for them, for their development. I feel it's important for their personal growth, and I feel it's really important for their independence to learn to have some time away from me and my husband so that they can grow and develop as individuals.
And as Lily becomes more comfortable with separations and her independence, so does her little sister, Sophie.
Fortunately for us, Sophie has Lily, and she picks up a lot of her cues from Lily, watches how Lily reacts to things. So when she sees that Lily's feeling okay with us leaving, she too feels better too.
Hey! Yay! Hi, sweetie! Hi! Mommy's home! Yay! I told you, Mommy always comes back. Yay! Hi, So-So!
Well, in the piece there, we saw the baby, and then we saw Lily, who's a little older. So you can see how it happens at different ages. But it can also happen again. I know when my daughter was going to preschool, it happened again, and I saw it again, and she was crying, and it just broke my heart. And so what we tried to do was play with her little stuffed animals, and we tried to role play and say, oh, you know, Mom, this is the mommy, and this is the child, and she's going to preschool. And what happens is she gives Mommy a hug and kiss, and then she waves bye-bye, and she knows Mommy's going to be back. Now, Alma, how do you deal with that? Because I know you deal with different kids, different stages.
I'm a child care provider, so I have, like you said, different ages and stages of children. What I like to do is prepare them, the children, to be ready for preschool. What we do is I take the older kids to school, and I tell them on the way to school, everybody goes to school. Everybody goes to work. You're going to go to school pretty soon, too. And this is like 6 months before even school starts.
And do you take them to
the preschool? We walk through the preschool, we talk to the teachers, and they know that I'm very familiar with the teachers of the preschool, and that's real important for child care providers to become aware of the preschool programs in your area. They know that I'm familiar with all the teachers, I'm familiar with the way it works, and you know, we walk through the school. We stay at the park, we play at this park, this is the park that the preschool plays at.
So you prepare them before, and so they know it too.
You've been previewing A Place of Our Own. This series airs every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. on WHRO. The series website offers a host of materials and tips for parents and child care providers. You'll find it at aplaceofourown.org. Now it's time to recognize our Schools of the Month. The mission of S.P. Morton Elementary School in Franklin is to provide a safe learning environment in which students and the community work together as an educational family to ensure that all students succeed. Their educational program is designed to stimulate students to develop the attitudes, skills, ideas, and appreciations necessary to become contributing and knowledgeable citizens. For Veterans Day this year, the students made a special trip to visit the retired war veterans at East Pavilion Nursing Home. They came armed with homemade greeting cards and baked goods and left with an appreciation for those who serve in the armed forces. For improving educational excellence by promoting citizenship, we honor S.P. Morton, our Elementary School of the Month. At Lynn Haven Middle School in Virginia Beach, students are encouraged to take an active role in tackling some of our environmental challenges And for that, they've been rewarded with Lynn Haven River Now's Pearl School Award. The goal of the Pearl School Award is to encourage and support the efforts of teachers like those at Lynn Haven who set up programs and service projects to help students understand watershed concepts and their characteristics and problems. The teachers at Lynn Haven have even set up an environmental club to foster more awareness of the environment and appreciation of their unique ecosystem. For developing an ethic of environmental responsibility in students, we congratulate Lynn Haven, our middle school of the month. The geometry team at Norview High School in Norfolk was recently awarded $25,000 from the Michael Jordan Foundation. The Jordan's Fundamentals Grant awards $1 million each year to teachers across the country who incorporate creative technology into instruction. Norview was the only school in the state of Virginia to receive this award, and the geometry team is using it for the purchase of wireless tablets that interact with whiteboards and encourage student participation. These pads will enable students to interact with geometry concepts and hone their basic principles. For implementing the innovative tools to raise student performance, we salute Norview, our high school of the month. At Bishop Sullivan Catholic High School in Virginia Beach, students are mastering the art of the English language. 7 students at Bishop Sullivan recently won very high honors at the Word Masters Challenge, a competition for high school students requiring close reading and analysis of many different kinds of poetry and prose. 2 of these 7 students were among only about 150 students to earn perfect scores. More than 53,000 students from across the United States and 4 foreign countries entered the competition. The challenge asks students to analyze everything from short fiction to classic poetry to current essays. They must recognize the emotional and rational logic of a piece of writing and also notice the ways in which a writer's style shapes his meaning. For encouraging attentive reading and sensitivity to language, we applaud Bishop Sullivan, our Independent School of the Month. The Great Computer Challenge, sponsored by WHRO's Consortium for Interactive Instruction and Old Dominion University, always provides a lot of fun and excitement. The Senior Division competition is just around the corner. Now is the time to be putting teams together to compete. Let's take a look back at what happened at last year's Senior GCC.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the 25th Great Computer Challenge.
Good luck, have fun, stay on.
little nerve-wracking. We kind of ran out of time at the end, but we finished it and we feel pretty confident.
I think that the Great Computer Challenge is a good competition because it allows some kids to express their ideas.
Parents and coaches, teachers, thank you for all the work you do supporting these kids.
Age Middle School.
Age Middle School. And what did you win in?
Web design.
All right.
Integrated application.
What did they ask you to do for integrated application?
We had to average out car ratings for different things like mechanical and safety and things like that.
Hopefully that brief look back encouraged you to get a team together for this year's competition. The registration deadline for the senior division is February 4th. You'll find all the information you need at whro.org/CII/GCC. The competition will be held Saturday, March 5th at Old Dominion University. Hope to see you there. This program and all the links we talk about are available online at schooltalk.org. Well, that's all for now. See you next time on School Talk.